Let's learn about fireflies. Another name for firefly is lightning bug. Take a look at this picture. What do you recognize about this picture? What do you notice about this picture? In this video, we are going to learn many interesting facts about the fireflies. What do you know about fireflies? Take a minute and think about one fact you know about fireflies. Have you ever seen a firefly? Did you ever catch a firefly in the summer? If you need to, you can pause the video at this time while you think about your one fact. Do you have your fact about the firefly? Great, let's move on. Some people know this insect as a firefly, and some know it as a lightning bug. That's how I know it. I've always called these lightning bugs. The firefly is not a dangerous insect. They do not bite or sting, so they are safe if they land on you or safe to catch them because they will not hurt you. Fireflies are a type of beetle, and we learned about the beetle earlier on this week. There are more than 2,000 species of fireflies. They live in warm, damp, and dry areas. Typically, they are found in areas during the rainy summer season. It is my favorite summer activity to be outside and catch the fireflies. I like to see them walk around my hand and give them to my children to play with. Most fireflies are nocturnal. Nocturnal means that they're awake during the night, although some species fly around during the day. They do not fly very fast, and they're easy to catch. Fireflies are soft-bodied insects that can grow to be 1 inch in length. 1 inch is not that long. It's about the size of your pinky finger. The flattened dark brown or black body often has a green or orange or yellow light. Males that do glow use their flash to get the female's attention. And remember, males is another word for boys, and female is another word for girls. The females will then flash to let the male know that she sees them. Each species of fireflies has its own pattern of flashing lights. Another thing that is so fascinating is that some species of fireflies have their own patterns of light and will flash their lights at the same time. That would be pretty cool to see, and that is something to look out for this summer when you see the lightning bugs or fireflies. Let's take a look at the body parts of a firefly. Since the firefly is an insect, it has the same body parts of all the other insects we learned about this week. There is a head, there is a thorax, and there is an abdomen. The head is red. It's all the way at the top. The thorax in this picture you can't really see too well, but it's underneath the wings. And the abdomen is also hidden, but part of the abdomen you can see. The light up part of the firefly or the lightning bug is part of the abdomen, and it's all the way in the end. The lightning bug also has the same thing like the dragonfly. Their abdomen is in sections. Remember those squares we counted on the dragonfly? Well, the lightning bug has those same sections. Also, just like other insects, the firefly has 6 legs. Let's count the legs on this firefly. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great job. Now, those two things that look like sticks coming out of the head, those are the antennae. We are going to take a quick look at the life cycle of a firefly. But the life cycle of the firefly is the same but also different from the other insects that we learned about. There are some fascinating things that happen in each stage in the life cycle of the firefly. So, quickly, right now, I'm going to show you those stages. And then I'm going to go on and explain what happens in each one of those stages. Just like all the insects we learned about, the first stage of the life cycle of the firefly is the eggs. Now, these eggs look a little different than the other eggs that we've seen. They are small, they are roundish, they are white, but if you look at the darker picture, you can see them light up. And this is something we're going to talk about in a little bit. Then the second stage in the life cycle of the firefly is the larvae stage. The larvae stage here actually looks like an entirely different bug. And we're going to learn about what happens during the larvae stage in a little bit. The third stage in the life cycle of the firefly is the pupa stage. And the pupa stage is pretty similar to all the other insects that we learned about this week. Finally, the fourth stage in the life cycle of the firefly is the adult stage. And that's when it becomes the firefly or lightning bug that we know. Now let's move on and let's learn about what happens in these four stages and what makes them so unique. Female fireflies, or the girl fireflies, can lay up to 100 eggs. Now that's a lot of eggs, but not as many as the other insects that we learned about this week. The females lay their eggs at the end of summer. So that's like when it's almost time to go back to school. Some fireflies will leave eggs on leaves, and some will leave them directly on the soil. Soil is another word for dirt. Firefly eggs usually hatch in 3 to 4 weeks. That's a long time for the eggs, but hopefully they stay safe. You may see them glowing dimly. Dimly means not very bright, if you can find them in the soil. So you'd have to have really good eyesight to see the eggs lighting up. That's pretty cool that a firefly's eggs can light up. The next stage was the larvae stage. The larvae usually live for approximately 1 to 2 years. In the larvae stage, they eat snails and slugs. Ew. Some of the larvae have gills. Gills are what fish have, so they live in the water. Others will live in trees. So if you look in the middle picture, that's a picture of a larvae that lives in the water. When a firefly's larvae is big enough, it digs into the ground in mud or dirt and pupates, or goes into the pupa stage, forming a hard exterior is a fancy word for outside, shell that will protect it during this part in its life. Some firefly larvae will attach to a tree and hang upside down. The pupa will undergo a metamorphosis from a crawling larva to an adult firefly, emerging in the early summer. Wow, metamorphosis. That is a huge word. Can you all say metamorphosis? Go ahead, give it a try. Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a really fancy word for meaning it's changing. And we're going to learn about that word, metamorphosis, a lot more next week. So I want you to remember that word. So the larvae goes into the pupa and it changes, or it goes through metamorphosis. This stage in the life cycle of the firefly can be as quick as 10 days, which is a little over a week, or up to a few weeks. In the two pictures below, the first picture is a picture of the pupa that is just on the ground or in the mud. And the second stage is the pupa hanging from a tree. So a firefly's pupa will look different. Adult fireflies will usually eat plant pollen and nectar, or even some small flies or gnats. However, since adult fireflies only live for about 1 to 2 months, which isn't very long, Some fireflies will never eat at all. If you look at the three pictures below, it's showing you pictures of fireflies, probably eating. In that first picture, there's a firefly eating a small fly. In the second picture, there's a firefly on a flower, so it's probably eating the pollen or the nectar. And in the last picture, there's a firefly on a leaf. That firefly could be drinking the water, or it's not eating anything at all. Wow, we learned so many facts about fireflies or lightning bugs. Let's go over some of them so you can remember. First, they do not sting, so we don't have to be afraid of a firefly. Second, there are 2,000 different species of fireflies. Third, you can see them in the summer. I love looking at fireflies in my front yard during the summer. Fourth, they don't fly very fast, so that's how we can catch them pretty easily. 5. Fireflies usually come out at night, but we did learn that some could be flying around during the day. 6. They have a green, orange, or yellow light. 7. Fireflies flash their lights to communicate. Communicate means that's how they talk to each other. 8. Female fireflies, or girl fireflies, lay up to 100 eggs. 9. The eggs can light up. That was such a cool fact. 10. The larvae live 1 to 2 years. That's a long time. That was pretty similar to our dragonfly, where the larvae live for a while. Next, the larvae will eat snails and slugs. That's kind of gross, but they need to survive. Then the adult fireflies will eat plants, nectar, small bugs, or nothing at all. And the final fact was that adults only live 1 to 2 months, which is not very long for a bug. We learned so much about fireflies. Let's take a minute and try to think of 3 new things that we learned. If you need to, you can pause this video or you can go back and look at all the facts that we talked about in this video. Once you did, I want you to get a pen and paper or pencils and crayons, and I want you to draw me something about those facts. Or you could just draw me a picture of the firefly or the lightning bug. When you are done with that, I need you to get a grown-up, mom or dad, grandma, grandpa, a big brother or big sister, and help you write those 3 facts down about the fireflies or lightning bugs. We write it down so we don't forget it. When you are done, please take a picture and send it to me on Dojo or upload it to your Google Classroom. I'm really looking forward to seeing your pictures because fireflies are one of my most favorite insects. I love how they light up. I love that they're easy to catch. And I love that they won't hurt me if I put them in my hand. So I can't wait to see what you learned or you love about the fireflies.